Hey kids, how y'all doing? This BabyFoot. I got something for y'all right here, alright? There's some stories I got in this backpack right here. So let me unpack it and we're gonna get into one of them. Alright, here we go. This is a story about B.Lynn the honeybee. B.Lynn was a worker bee. She had just received her bee license a week ago. Now that she has a license, she is now part of the worker colony of bees. Before then, she had just buzzed around the honeycomb, playing games, eating honey, and sleeping. Today was her first day of work, and she had to report to one of the most important sectors for working honeybees, the nectar division. They are responsible for collecting nectar, making honey, and pollinating the fields at the same time. She had to report to the flight briefing at 6 a.m. on the dot, but she woke up late to the sound of Buzz Radio. Good morning, Bee Nation. I am the bumbling bundle Buzz. B.Lynn jumped out of her bed, brushed her jibs, put on her worker bee uniform quicker than a hummingbird wings could flap. She darted through the honeycomb work sector, heading towards the nectar division. Excuse me, pardon, watch out now, is what she shouted all the way there. Now, B.Lynn tried to sneak into the briefing slowly, but got spotted by Mrs. Saratoga Bumble. Private B.Lynn, why are you buzzing in my class 10 minutes late? She asked. Sorry, Miss Saratoga Bumble. I was up late hours because of my nerves. They got the best of me last night, B.Lynn replied as she eased her way to an empty seat. Get those nerves in check and make this the last time you were late to my class, Private, Miss Bumble said. Yes, sir, ma'am, B.Lynn replied as she sat down. Miss Bumble finished up the flight briefing and drew up a map for a safety briefing. All right, cadets, stay sharp while I brief you on safety, Miss Bumble said. She then pointed to the map saying, these three things are what we avoid, dodge, and survive. While Miss Bumble continued to talk, B.Lynn started drifting off. She had stayed up too long preparing the night before. Now she lacked the energy for the mission. B.Lynn heard blah, 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 map eyes. At the same time, Miss Bumble was saying, avoid the market. The civilian human creatures tend to attack when we buzz this place for goods and services. She then said, this is the highway. The human creatures, man and pilot machines that can splatter a whole squad in 2 seconds flat. Listen up, pansies. When flying through the zone, if you see me dodge, then you dodge with me. Now, last up is the mother lode. The sweetest nectar lies within those trees. We would go in, we get it, we get out, and pollinate on the way back. But this is also a red zone. It's full of ground and air predators. If we happen to fall under attack, we must retreat with what we have to these trees. They are a safe zone, along with a one-way pass to home base. Remember, this is B Squad. No larva-hearted, tender-wing flying on this watch. You hear me? What squad is this? She asked. And the cadets all answered, B Squad. B.Lynn jumped up, slurring, yeah, B Squad, B Squad, because she was sleeping. She asked Private Heights, hey Heights, what did I miss? Private Heights replied, not much, B. She said we go in, we get it, we get out, and pollinate on the way back. She asked, that's it? Nothing else? Nah, not really. She gives the same speech every morning, Heights replied. Okay, thanks, Heights, B.Lynn replied. They all got into formation for the jump. As they stood there, B.Lynn looked down in amazement and felt like she had found her calling. She had worked in upper sectors but wasn't happy. And since she had a special ability to learn everything quickly, she has done it all. You see, amongst the 4,000 bee species, honeybees are the most important. The workers pollinate 30% of crops and 90% of plants. Because of this process, we have foods such as vegetables and fruits. Worker bees are the largest of the honeybee colony. They gather nectar, guard the hive and honey, protect the queen and larvae, defend the nest, clean and ventilate the hive. They also search for pollen and nectar. Best of all, they make the sweetest honey on the planet. B.Lynn has done all of the honeybee's duties, but the forage for pollen and nectar is what got her wings buzzing. She loved to fly and loved the outdoors. It was time to fly. They lift off the tree branch, zoom past the market, over and through the highway, and down to the motherlode. Now, as they arrived to the motherlode, Heights asked B.Lynn, "What is the bucket for, B?" She replied, "The nectar, of course." Heights then said, "We have an extra stomach for that." B.Lynn replied, "I know, but this is for the extras." Heights smiled and said, "I hope it won't slow you down." Then they both went to work. B.Lynn looked around and saw no one else carry the bucket. So she flew to a side of the field where there were no cadets so she can fill her bucket. Miss Saratoga Bumble was the lookout. She sat on a tree branch that allowed her to spot ground and air threats. If she saw a land animal or bird, she would give a signal and the squad would rendezvous at the safe zone. As they gathered the nectar, Narcy the hawk was sizing up the bees trying to spot the newbie. After a little while, he saw B.Lynn by herself in her own world. B.Lynn was singing while she worked. "I'm a pollinator. I pollinate. I'm a pollinator. Bees are great. I'm a pollinator. I pollinate. I'm a pollinator. Please don't hate." This is what she sang as she foraged. Being that hawks have great vision, Narcy saw her lips moving and head bopping. So he said to himself, "Well, what do we have here? A nice little honeybee treat. It's snack time." He soared up into the sky, got into attack position, and then swooped down on the squad. But not before Miss Saratoga Bumble could scream, "Hawk! Hawk! Fly to the safe zone! Bee squad, fly to the safe zone!" Everyone but B.Lynn heard the signal, and because she was in an area by herself singing her wings off, she did not see or hear the squad fly away. Narcy said, "I got a victim." All of a sudden, she heard a loud screeching sound. She looked up and screamed, "Ah!" And because she fell asleep during the morning safety briefing, she did not know where to go or what to do. That's when her instincts kicked in. She dropped her bucket, tucked her limbs, and zoomed out the way at buzzing speed. Miss Saratoga Bumble tried to get her attention and call out to her, "B.Lynn! B.Lynn! B.Lynn!" she yelled. But fright and flight took over, and B.Lynn flew right by them at blinding speed. Narcy was right on her stinger, while B Squad looked on in fear and prayed. She hit the highway and darted past cars, trucks, and buses. Nasi almost got hit twice. Oh, you're a little feisty one, eh? Tired bees taste better anyway, he said. She kept her wit until she got to the market and found some cover. As Miss Saratoga Bumble saw her fly into the man-machine on wheels, she took a roll call just to see if anyone else was missing in action. Now, B.Lynn was safe for the moment, but it troubled Miss Saratoga Bumble on why she separated from the squad. So she asked, "Who sat next to Private Lynn?" Heights replied, "Me, ma'am." "Private Heights, what happened? Why was B.Lynn unaware of the safe zone?" "Private Lynn, she dozed off during the briefing, ma'am," Heights said. "What? Why wasn't this reported?" she asked. I thought it was not important, being that the briefings are the same every morning, ma'am," Heights said. "Not important? Explain," Miss Saratoga Bumble asked. "Well, in 30,000 miles and many seasons, there has been no attacks, so I assumed today would be the same," he said. "No day is the same, Private. Now we have to rescue B.Lynn, but first I will take the squad back to the hive." She then led them back to the hive safely. Now the whole colony knew B.Lynn, so the news traveled fast when they heard that she is trapped in a man-machine on wheels, while she is being stalked by Narcy the Hawk. Miss Saratoga Bumble was instructed by the Queen to speak with the commander of the Wasp Corps, the elite among small winged flyers, who was known for attacking the top predators, humans. She followed her orders and sought out Captain B.K., leader of the Wasp Corps. She found him not far from the hive training his recruits. "Commander B.K., she said. "Troops, 10 hunt." "How can I help you, Saratoga?" he asked. "We have a red zone emergency. One of our cadets is trapped in a man-machine on wheels." "They call them cars, Saratoga," he said. "Okay, a car. And the hawk, Narcy, is just sitting waiting for her to show herself," she said. "Wow, so she made it out the red zone and into the market?" he asked. "Yes," replied Miss Saratoga Bumble. Amazing," he said, then turned to his troops. "Squadron, listen up. This is what you're trained for. We have a bee to rescue, and she is trapped in the car by the market being preyed on by the hawk. Alpha Squad will attack the hawk. Omega Squad will provide cover, while Willie Wasp execute the extraction. Got it?" "Yes, sir." "Let's go get your bee, Saratoga." As they swarmed the market, a man was entering his car. He heard a buzzing noise, saw B.Lynn, and tried to swat her. She was scared, darted left, right, up, and down, trying not to get squashed. At the same time, Willie Wasp saw this and stung the man on his butt. "Ouchie, ow!" the man shouted. Willie then told B.Lynn to fly away. "You will be safe." As they flew away, the man dropped a tear saying, "Oh, my sore tushy," because he got stung in his butt. As they flew away from the market, B.Lynn was shocked to see Miss Saratoga Bumble with the Wasp Squadron. What was even more shocking was watching the hawk fly away from the wasp in fear, screaming, "Get away! Get away! Get away!" "My name is Willie Wasp," Willie said. "I am B.Lynn. Thank you for saving me, Willie. That is the bravest thing I have ever seen. And all of the colonies know who you are, the bee that was late. And since bees are never late and have never escaped Narcy the Hawk, this day has made you popular," Willie added. B.Lynn was escorted back to the hive by Squadron Omega, while Squadron Alpha drove Narcy away. Miss Saratoga Bumble was happy she was safe, but said with a stern voice, "When we get back to the colony, there will be a disciplinary action taken, along with a thorough review, Private Lynn." "Yes, ma'am," B.Lynn replied. As they land on home base's runway, Miss Saratoga Bumble instructed B.Lynn to report to the Queen and drones immediately. B.Lynn told Willie Wasp, "Goodbye, and thanks again for saving my life." Willie Wasp replied, "No problem, Private Lynn. This is what the Wasp Corps does, serve and protect." He saluted her. She saluted back, then flew into the hive. "Thank you, Commander BK. We might have lost one for the first time on my watch if it wasn't for you," said Miss Saratoga Bumble. BK responded, "It was our honor and duty, Saratoga. And don't be hard on the newbie. She showed heart, and her actions brought the B Nation and Wasp Corps together. I cannot recall the last time we have had such a union and glorious battle." "Well, on behalf of the whole colony, I thank you, and I will inform the Queen of the Wasp Corps' bravery," Miss Bumble said. "Till we meet again, Saratoga," Commander BK said. "Wasp Corps, take form. Now fly out." As Commander BK flew away, he saluted Miss Bumble. She saluted back into the hive. Now the story has to be continued because B.Lynn now has to see the Queen and the drones. To be continued. B.Lynn and the Honey